Hi guys, welcome back. In today's video, I'm going to share with you the microneedling kit that finally got me to take the plunge and try this method. If you're not familiar with microneedling, what it is using a device that contains teeny tiny little needles, hence the term microneedling, to puncture our skin. This creates tiny wounds that signals our body to produce more collagen-rich tissue. So in turn, this is going to create healthier, bouncier, firmer skin. Now, if you've been to this channel before, you will know I am always chasing collagen because collagen production starts to slow down in our 20s and it kind of only goes downhill from there. So by the time you get to your 50s and you're in menopause like myself, it pretty much just disappears. So I'm always trying to rebuild collagen. I take collagen supplements and I use a number of different devices and methods to help rebuild, like LED light therapy and radio frequency. So there are so many benefits that additional collagen is going to give. And the first, of course, is in the anti-aging space, which is where this whole thing came about for me, is that it's going to plump up the skin, therefore it is going to reduce some of those fine lines and wrinkles. It can also help with hyperpigmentation, so it can help to reduce some of those fade spots. It can also help repairing the look of scars by smoothing out the areas that surround the scars. This is something that I wanted to try for ages, but you know what? At the end of the day, I was just a big ass chicken, and I was so nervous that this was going to hurt. So it's one of those things that was on my list to do, like there are always so many things on my lists, but I just couldn't bring myself to do it. Enter Banish, and I was so thrilled to be contacted by this company who asked me if I wanted to try out their system. So really, I kind of needed that little shove in order to actually give it a try. This company is known for tackling skin problems that are related to acne. So they really understand this space of sort of troubled skin and scarred skin as a result of having acne problems over the years. Now, I don't personally suffer from acne or any acne scarring. However, I thought the form factor of this device was so unique, I was really excited to give it a try. So they don't have my exact kit anymore, but they do have something quite similar, which is called the Starter Kit. So what this kit comes with, the first thing is the microneedling stamp itself. It's called the Banishing 2.0. Then you get an oil, which is the Dark Spot Corrector Vitamin C Serum. I got the Vitamin C Cream, as well as the Pumpkin Enzyme Mask and the All Clear Mint Cleanser. Now, I have to be honest, this kit sat on my desk for months. I mean, it was probably 4 months. I just kept looking at it going, yeah, I'm going to do that this weekend. But honestly, I was actually afraid. I thought this was going to hurt. Stabbing my face with a bunch of needles, I was pretty sure it was going to hurt. So I had to get over it, and I did dedicate it about 2 weeks in advance. I said, I'm doing it on the Sunday. And by the way, I do this every Sunday. That's sort of my routine. And then I finally decided to jump in. And I'm going to show you the demo because I'm now doing this about once a week. And it doesn't take very long at all. But before we get that, I want to go into each of these items. And the first is the stamp. And it's one of the things that I find so interesting about this kit is that this is a different kind of mechanism. Now, the most common type of microneedling tool, or at least that I was familiar with, is the roller. And you've probably seen these all over the place. And I have to say, this is probably what freaked me out the most, this idea of rolling this thing up and down your skin. It terrified me. But what's so cool about this is actually a stamp. And I think that a stamp is going to kind of deliver more control over the area in which you're using, and it also kind of gives an even distribution of pressure. I think I thought this was just going to freak me out. So I liked the idea that you can control where the stamp goes, and there's sort of a precision to it. So these are a 0.5 millimeter in length, and this is sort of the minimum length required in order to stimulate collagen. You can get a lot bigger needles than this, but for me, I wanted to start kind of slow, and it's sort of the base entry-level model. So this is sort of the most commonly used and can cause the least amount of irritation. The bristles are made from 24 karat gold plated titanium, and they say that their bristles are finer and sharper than other models that you can get out there, which again leads to less irritation as well. The next is their vitamin C serum, and let me just say, I love this serum. It is spectacular. It contains obviously L-ascorbic acid, but it's also paired with ferulic acid and vitamin E, which is sort of the perfect combination of ingredients for a vitamin C product. It contains glycerin, which is just my all-time favorite hydrator, and it has the perfect pH balance of 3.4. Plus, it's an oil-based delivery system, which is hands down my favorite. So it's just so incredibly hydrating and moisturizing. Without a doubt, I will be repurchasing this product. It is fantastic. And you use this product straight after you do your microneedling. Now the next is their vitamin C cream. And again, a really, really nice product. It contains 20% L-ascorbic acid, and it contains a whole host of soothing ingredients like the aloe vera leaf, raspberry extracts, and white willow bark extract. And of course it contains glycerin. So it's a really lovely, nourishing, hydrating cream. Then they've also included a pumpkin enzyme mask. Now, I generally would use this a few days after I've done my microneedling. So that's maybe on a Wednesday if I've done the microneedling on a Sunday. So it uses pumpkin enzymes and glycolic acid in order to exfoliate the skin. It contains vitamin C, it contains beta carotene, it has glycerin to hydrate, and it has rosemary leaf extract to soothe the skin. Now, it's really interesting because you put this on your face, and like other glycolics, you know, it kind of tingles at first, you know, it's kind of doing its job, but then it kind of moves into this cooling phase where my skin just felt refreshed and cooled. I don't even know how it works, but it is beautiful, and it actually smells like pumpkins. It's very interesting. So it's just a very strange sensation all in all, but I have to say I absolutely loved it. And the last item in the kit was the All Clear Mint Cleanser. This is a sulfate-free gel foaming cleanser. So this contains polyhydroxy acid, so it kind of gives a gentler, softer kind of an exfoliant. It has a number of soothing ingredients like aloe vera leaf extract. It has a cucumber peel, as well as panthenol. It does also contain some essential oils, so beware. It has a peppermint that kind of gives it its scent, which you will notice straight away, plus a grapefruit oil. So if you're sensitive to essential oils, you might give this a skip. This is the only one in the range that I wasn't mad about, just because I don't like foaming cleansers. And if you like a foaming cleanser, it does a great job of clearing off the skin. It's just not my favorite. Now, the only thing that I only noticed on their site last night when I was looking this up that I didn't try, because I don't think they had it at the time, is that they have an SPF 50 that I would absolutely love to get my hands on. It is the Defender Broad Spectrum SPF 50. So it is uber expensive. I think it's about 74 euros, but based on the formulations of their other products, I'd say it's a real winner too. I'm going to show you a demo of me using the product, and I guess what I did for this exercise was focused specifically on my scars. So I wasn't using this on my wrinkles or nasolabial folds or other places where collagen building would really help. I decided to isolate the scars because that's a lot of the communication that they had sent to me was about the effect that this has on scars. Now, I don't have acne scars, and I'd say if you do, this is probably going to be a big ass winner. Okay, so I have quite a bit of scarring on my face from a car accident that I had when I was in high school. So basically my face smashed into the windscreen and it left a lot of scarring behind. So I've had, I don't know, 4 or 5 surgeries back in the high school days to try to minimize the scars as much as possible. The one final surgery that I didn't get that probably would have helped a lot was microdermabrasion, where they sort of sandpaper those areas to smooth out the surface. Now, by then I'd gone to college and I'd moved a lot far away from home and I just couldn't be bothered, so I never did it. So as a result, I do have a fair amount of scarring on my forehead. I have some strange situation stuff happening on my nose, and then I have this thing here on my lip, which is kind of pronounced, but whatever. So I wanted to microneedle these areas to see if there was an impact. Now, of course, it does say that this type of product is not really going to work as successfully for keloid scarring, which is what this is. And that means that the areas are sort of raised and they have a lot of discoloration, either red, pink, or dark, which is what mine are. These tend to be pinkier, this tends to go dark, and this tends to go dark. But I wanted to try it anyway. The one thing with any microneedling that you do at all that is absolutely critical is sterilization, because essentially you are creating little wounds in your face that is open to bacteria. And what you don't want to do is to cause any kind of infection. So sterilize, sterilize, sterilize. Not only the unit that you're using, but your hands, your sort of work surface, and make sure that you're set up and ready to go ahead of time so everything is here and ready. Because if you're starting to touch a bunch of stuff, you kind of have to stop, go wash your hands, and sterilize again. So once you've washed your hands, don't touch anything. You'll see in this video that I did that on more than one occasion. So now we'll cut over to the demo video where I show you how you use the tool as well as some of the other products. Okay, so before I do anything at all, I have to sterilize the stamp. So you do that by filling up to the little line that's actually on the little plastic cap. I use surgical spirit, which is what we have here in Ireland. So you fill that up to the line, you screw the top back on, and then you let it sit for 5 minutes. So it's doing a sterilization before you even start. So during those 5 minutes, I go and I wash my face. I make sure that my hands are very, very clean after I have washed my face. And you don't want to touch anything because, again, we have to keep everything sterile. So I have all my stuff set out in front of me. I have my stamp, I have my vitamin C oil, and I have my vitamin C cream. So they're all sitting here ready for me. So as soon as I'm done stamping, I can apply the product. So this has now been sitting for 5 minutes. So I'm just going to unscrew it. You can see it's been suspended in that solution now for 5 minutes. Give it a little shake. My hands are clean. Now, I had to wash them 3 times because every time I touched something, like for example, I realized my little lights behind me weren't on, so I had to turn them on. So then I had to go wash my hands again. Because essentially we're creating these little openings in our skin, so I don't want anything, any potential bacteria that's on my fingers to get in when I apply the product after. So the method of stamping is to hit each area 5 times. So you hit it once, and then you turn it 90 degrees, and you hit it again, and you turn it 90 degrees, and you do that 5 times. So we're doing the 3 areas. I'm doing my forehead, I'm doing my lip, and I'm doing my nose. So I start with the lip. So I stamp it, and I turn it. I stamp it, and I turn it. I stamp it, and I turn, stamp, and turn. So that's 5. That was 5, right? Yes. Okay, and I'm going to move on to my nose. Now this has been a particularly difficult part for me to get because it's very bony and it kind of goes across the surface of my, it kind of travels across my nose. So I have found this area very difficult to capture. Okay. And then I'm moving on to my forehead. This whole area up here is where I call them my train tracks. So during the surgeries, what they did is they kind of cut out the skin and then they pulled the skin together, because it's quite pliable and stretchy, to create a new, much smaller scar. So they kind of look like train tracks. A lot better than they were, though. 4 and 5 over here. And that's it. It's actually very quick, and I'm only doing those 3 areas just to test them. When you're done with that, you put it back into the little thing, and the little solution is going to sit there for another 5 minutes, and I go straight in with my vitamin C oil. Now I can put this oil all over my face, and I will do, because this is sort of the only skincare that I'll be doing tonight. And I put that all over. It does not sting, nor does the process of microneedling, which I was so scared. I was so scared. It doesn't hurt. But what you will notice is that it's a bit red. Now that oil could be enough, particularly if you have oily skin. My skin actually loves it. It's a wonderful vitamin C product. But I do go in also with a little bit of the cream because I just think it's lovely and it gives me a little bit of extra at night. So I go in with that after. So my skin is super hydrated. By the way, any leftover stuff I have from doing my face always goes on my elbows. I hate to waste product, and it means I have nice, super soft elbows. So that's it. So this whole thing takes me very little time in the evenings, and I'm doing this once a week. Now what I will actually do now, I will wait probably 15 or 20 minutes for this to soak into my skin, and then I'm going to do an LED mask because I find that that helps with the inflammation and just to calm things down a little bit. So 20 minutes from now, I will do a 10-minute LED light therapy mask, and then I'm done for the night. After 5 minutes, I will then empty this out, and what I tend to do is put it under a really, really hot water just as a final blast. I leave this to dry for about 20 or 30 minutes, and then it gets put back into the container. This is the part that I struggled with, and it is the photos, the before and after photos. And Gary and I only looked at them last night, and I have to admit I didn't want to show the photos because I don't think the photos are going to do this justice. Now, the biggest issue for me is that I started this kit in May, but I was grossly inconsistent because I traveled all summer, so I didn't even get to use it 4 weeks in a row. And not only that, I had a lot of time in the sun, and when I go in the sun, my scars go dark. And there's nothing I can do about it. I wear SPF till the cows come home. I wear hats. I don't stay out of the sun, but I try to not, do too much badness for my face. But it gets darker. My whole body gets darker. I soak up sun pretty quickly. But as a result, all of these scars get much, much darker. So when I'm looking at these photos, I did one in May, I did one in August, and I did one in September. The May actually looks better than the September. That's because of all of the damage that was accrued over the summer. I was on sun holidays a lot this summer. So basically, these pictures, meaning the September one, which was just taken yesterday, should be way worse. Way worse. So just having a look at these, you can see that, and the discoloration, mostly the darkness I can see on the nose and on the lip. So what this shows is not great results. But what I know is the results are phenomenal because I know what happens to my scars over sun exposure in the summer. So I think these are misleading. I almost didn't want to show them. We had a lot of debate about it, but I can't not because I've taken the photos and I think I owe it to you. But I think it's doing this kit a huge disservice. So overall verdict, this thing totally works. And I'm going to keep it up, and microneedling is now going to be a part of my regular routine. And so much so, I'm actually going to buy it for my daughter. She has some scarring on her leg from being too close to the fire, and I know that this product is going to work for her. So I will be getting a kit for her. So there are only two things I'd say, downside-wise, for me when I look at anti-aging that this product is going to have. The first is it only treats a really small surface area. So if I wanted to do my whole face, which I do, I actually want that collagen building to happen everywhere. My crow's feet, nasolabial folds, I mean everywhere. It would take a really long time to do that 5 times and moving it all over my face. So that's a downside for this. For scarring and for certain targeted areas, this is perfect. And then the only other thing is that there's no way to replace the head because these are not something you use forever. You pretty much are going to get 2 to 3 months worth of use. You know, you're using these about 8 to 10 times. So not only for hygiene purposes, but the needles will also lose their sharpness over time. So you do have to sort of throw these out and repurchase now. Unfortunately, I would rather, in order to reduce wastage, I would prefer to be able to replace the head, but that's, you know, that's the way it goes. So guys, that is it for today's video. Thank you so much for joining. If you have made it this far, what are your thoughts on this? I'm totally hooked on this and will be using it in the future, but have you tried it? Have you done any microneedling yourself? Have you tried Banish? I think it's definitely worth checking it out if you are on the hunt yourself. So thank you so much for joining today, and I will see you at the next video. Bye. Sounds like Christmas is coming up the stairs. Sounds like Santa.
Here's Santa.
There's Santa. We're gonna take that off you, buddy.